Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. So the news is all over social media that Hermes is being sued, and they are being sued for the practice that luxury lovers have long since discussed as to how you are given the opportunity, the offer to purchase a Birkin. One of these little bags has caused so much controversy. It has caused so much discussion in the luxury loving community for years, and now it is causing the subject matter of a potential class action lawsuit. This is the Birkin. This is what we are talking about. If you've watched my channel before, I did not buy this from Hermes. I did not buy this from the store. I went down the route of buying this from a reseller. And the reason that I went down the route of buying it from a reseller and buying above the retail price is that I didn't want to play the Hermes game. I have no patience. I also had no flexibility about the Birkin that I wanted. I wanted a Birkin 25 in rose Capri with palladium hardware in Togo leather, which is exactly what this was. I did not want to consider a slightly different colour, a slightly different size, a different leather. I wanted this. I also didn't want to take the chance that I may never be offered this by the store, or that I may never get this bag. I wanted this bag, so I went the resale route and I bought it. What has long since been discussed is the Hermes way of deciding who it is that gets these bags. And whether or not it is Hermes' official policy or not remains to be seen, and no doubt that will be one of the elements that is raised in this lawsuit. Because is it the policy of the brand, or is it custom and usage almost, which has become the norm, that you have to have a pre-spend to buy one of these bags? You have to be a client of Hermes with a very good relationship with your SA, with a buying history, with a history of being interested in the brand above and beyond their leather bags to be offered the opportunity to buy one of these. And it is this practice that is the subject of the lawsuit. Now, there are a number of articles talking about this. There are a number of posts on social media. There is an article on Reuters, which I will link below in the description box, and that is the article that I am going to be referencing. The title of that article is that Hermes sued in antitrust class action over Birkin bag sales. And effectively what the subject matter of the potential action is how you buy one of those. It's how buying a Birkin bag is tied to also buying other items from Hermes, effectively saying that you are forced to have to buy other items from Hermes if you want to buy one of those Birkins. Now, obviously you're not forced to do anything, it's your choice. You do not have to choose to partake in the game. You do not have to choose to buy the other items. You do not have to choose to build up a relationship with a sales assistant or to have a buying history. And what the lawsuit is saying, and the persons as the plaintiffs within the lawsuit are saying, and the plaintiff is a person who takes a lawsuit, is that, well, if that's the case, if you choose not to partake in this game, if you choose not to buy all of these other products, you have less than zero chance of being offered the opportunity to buy one of those bags. Because in reality, what these people are saying is, regardless of what the official policy may be, and we'll come on to that, regardless of what Hermes says about purchasing a Birkin, the reality is that you won't be given the chance or the opportunity to buy one unless you have built up that relationship and that buying history with the brand. This lawsuit says that Hermes is violating antitrust law by tying the sale of one item to the purchase of another. And it is reported in the Reuters article that 2 California residents have alleged this in the proposed federal class action lawsuit filed on Tuesday in San Francisco. Now, a class action lawsuit is where, think Erin Brockovich, it's where there are a class of people, a large amount of people who are impacted by the actions of a potential defendant or proposed defendant, and those persons come together to form a class of people who take this action or lawsuit against the proposed defendant. This can happen quite often if there is, for example, a pharmaceutical company. There are a lot of people impacted by one of their products. They will come together to present this case rather than running lots and lots and lots of individual cases. And according to the Reuters article, they are attempting to seek class action status for thousands of US consumers who bought Hermes goods or were asked to buy them in order to purchase a Birkin. Now, to do that, what are they going to have to show? They are going to have to show that this is how Hermes operates. And that brings us back to what I would assume will be a relevant factor in the lawsuit. Now, I'm not obviously a qualified American lawyer, so this is only my opinion and only my thoughts on it. But I would assume that they're going to have to address within the lawsuit whether or not this is Hermes' actual policy, or whether or not this is something that has just came about over the years by Hermes and their staff, be it a policy or an informal policy, to try and protect the exclusivity of the brand, because we have long since known that Hermes wants its bags to go to persons who are not just wanting to buy the bag, like me. I have a few other Hermes things, but I certainly wouldn't call myself an Hermes lover. They want their bags to go to people that have an interest in the brand above and beyond those bags. They want people who are interested in their clothing, in their homeware, in the craftsmanship of their jewellery, of their watches, of their shoes, of much other aspects of their brand just than those bags. And what this lawsuit, according to the Reuters article, is alleging is that sales associates are effectively being the gatekeepers of these bags. They're effectively being in charge of who will get the opportunity to be offered one of these bags. So to get that opportunity, you have to work with your sales associate. And it also mentions in this article that it is relevant that sales associates do not earn commission on the Birkin bag. So they encourage you to buy scarves, twillies, shoes, jewellery, homeware, blankets, clothing, to build up that relationship, for them to effectively then choose you as one of the lucky few who are offered the opportunity to buy this bag or to buy the Birkin. Now, you still pay for the Birkin. It's not that you buy all of this stuff and then you're gifted the Birkin. You're just gifted the opportunity to spend the money on buying the Birkin. The article in Reuters says that Hermes sales associates for Birkin bag sales are instructed to use the handbags as a way to coerce consumers to purchase ancillary products, according to the complaint within this lawsuit. Now, we're no doubt, and this fascinates me, this will be a topic that I will follow because I think this is very, very interesting. We will no doubt see coming out within this lawsuit arguments whether or not they are actually instructed to do this, whether or not this is something they take onto themselves, whether or not this policy, even if it is not written down, can still be taken as a policy because of its wide usage. And these are all going to be things that will be specific to the law that is being applied and to the discovery that will have to be produced throughout this lawsuit as to what actually is coming from Hermes, or is it coming from the sales associates, or are Hermes going to say, nonsense, we don't tie the sales to anything. The reality is that there are very limited quantities of these, and there are lots and lots and lots of people who want to buy them. So it's not us tying the sales, it's simply that there is a wait. There are not enough of these bags, and all of those customers that have been offered the opportunity to buy those bags are just customers of our brand. And if they are shopping and buying things from our brand, like scarves, like homeware, like shoes, like all the other things, it's not because we're tying it to the purchase, it's because they love those things and they're buying those things. We're not forcing them to buy those things. They're buying those things, and then lo and behold, down the line a little bit, a Birkin becomes available and we offer that to them because they're next on the list. That might be an argument that Hermes makes, that it is not in any way actually tied to the purchase, but it is a reality of the scarcity of the bag and the exclusivity of the brand. You and I may have our own views as to how this actually works, whether or not it is just the scarcity of the brand, or whether or not you're having to pre-spend, and whether or not it is actually tied to whether you're given the opportunity. Because in reality, we may say, well, isn't it funny that the people that are spending all of the money and buying all of the other things are the ones that just happen to come up next on the list and be offered the opportunity to buy the bag? So we may think to ourselves, well, We do think that it's tied. And certainly if you look on YouTube, you will see lots of videos where people who have been offered the opportunity to buy these bags through the stores will discuss with you their pre-spend, and they will discuss with you all of the other items that they bought or purchased to then be able to buy their Birkin. But no doubt Hermes will argue that's just their perception. It is their perception that buying all of those things allowed them to be able to buy the Birkin. Has anybody ever actually said, and this will be interesting to see as it comes out throughout the process of this lawsuit, has anybody actually said you got your Birkin because you bought ABC? Has that ever actually been written down? Has a sales associate ever actually said, to get that bag, you're going to have to buy XYZ? They might have implied it. Have they ever actually said it? And what evidence do the plaintiffs have that this is actually the policy and actually written down? If they don't have that evidence, no doubt they're going to present custom and usage. Look at what happens. Everybody knows this. Now, I'm not a lawyer in America, but I would imagine that custom and usage is something that Hermes will want to drill down into by way of a defence, and equally the plaintiffs will want to drill down into to say, look, it speaks for itself. And then it's going to be down to the courts to determine what standard is met and whether or not the court is convinced that this is an actual policy, that they're actually tying these sales together, and in doing so that it contravenes the California law that is being pleaded in this action. According to Reuters, the lawsuit also says that only customers who are deemed worthy of purchasing a Birkin handbag will be shown a Birkin handbag in a private room. And one can assume that this is being implied to be evidence of how Hermes go about the sales of their Birkin bags. Reuters in their article say the lawsuit said it was seeking class action status for thousands of US customers who bought Hermes goods or were asked to buy them in order to purchase a Birkin, and that the plaintiffs are seeking unspecified monetary damages and a court order barring Hermes' allegedly anti-competitive practices. Because of course, all of this is only alleged at this point. This action, this lawsuit has only just hit the news. It has only just issued. Whether or not the court makes a determination way down the line, no doubt, as to whether or not there's actually been a breach, means that all of these allegations at the minute are just alleged. Nothing has as yet been proven. As I say, everyone may have their own view on this, but your own view is not determinative, neither is mine, and it will be up to the court that is dealing with this case to determine whether or not Hermes, by these practices, if these practices can be established to the standard required by law, to actually show that they have breached the laws that's being relied upon. Again, I personally think this is fascinating. I will be following this. I have recently put out a video talking to you about why my Hermes journey is over. Not that I ever think I was on one, and that I have given up on ever being offered the opportunity to buy a mini Kelly from the store. Now, in the UK and Ireland, our system is somewhat different than it seems to be in the rest of the world. We have what is called a wish list system. This is where you go into your Hermes and you put down effectively a wish. The wish of the bag that you would want. And a wish list used to last on the system for 9 months. It's now been increased to a year. I believe the reasoning for that increase is due to the fact that there are such waiting lists for these bags now and the scarcity of the availability. But it is supposed to be that you go in, put your wish down, and when that bag becomes available, it is given to you. I recently said in my video that I had completely given up on being offered a mini Kelly from the store because I have had 3 wishes for that bag. I have effectively close to 3 years of being on the wish list and one has not been offered. Now, I fully accept that the mini Kelly is probably one of the hardest bags to get to be offered on the leather spectrum of bags. I appreciate there are probably exotics, and the picnic bags like Meredith just unboxed are probably even a lot harder to get than the mini Kelly. But if we're looking at the traditional Birkin and Kelly bag, the mini Kelly is probably one of the hardest. So the chances of getting that on the wishlist system are probably a lot slimmer than the chances of getting a Birkin or a Kelly. But one might be forgiven for considering that if I had a significantly higher purchase history with Hermes, that I would have been given the opportunity to buy the mini Kelly on the wishlist system. I would probably assume, this is only my opinion, not evidence, that others that have purchased a lot more within the time frame that I've been on the wishlist system for the mini Kelly have been given the opportunity to buy the mini Kelly. But that brings us on to another point. Is that wrong? Is that wrong? Should Hermes be allowed to sell their bags to whoever they want? Should Hermes be allowed to say, well, you're a loyal customer, you love our brand, you are interested in our brand above and beyond these bags, so therefore, because our bags are scarce and we don't have a lot of them, we want to give you the opportunity to buy it before somebody else that's not interested in our other parts of our house, because that's who we want to have our bags. Is that wrong? Is that not something like Rolex do, like certain car companies do? Is there anything wrong with that? Or should they not be allowed to sell to whoever they want? Well, the answer to that is going to come down to what this California law says. I am not versed in California law. I am not familiar with the law that they're talking about. According to the Reuters article, this could violate antitrust law by tying these sales together and effectively restricting and choosing who they sell their bags to. I would imagine it's a little bit like anti-competitive laws, but this will be shown. We will see this as this lawsuit passes through the courts, and no doubt with the amount of publicity there is about this already, we're going to be updated on this as it goes, and I for one will be following it because I think it's fascinating. Of course, we also have to acknowledge that there are stories on social media from people who have been offered Birkins without purchase history. There are examples of people who have been able to buy their Birkin without building up this level of pre-spend. Deb from Wild Unfiltered is one of those examples. She has lots of videos talking about Hermes, about how she was offered these bags and able to buy them without going through this pre-spend. And I'm sure there are a lot of other examples on social media and in real life of people who have been able to get the Birkin without going through the process of the pre-spend. And that's also probably going to be something that's relevant and taking into account in the lawsuit. But of course, Deb is based in the UK, which seems to operate a very different system. Let me know what your views are on this. What do you think? What do you think about the lawsuit? What do you think about Hermes being sued? All about how we buy one of these bags. What do you think is going to happen? I am intrigued, so I will be talking about this and no doubt following this because I do think it's very, very interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment box. Thank you so much for watching me. If you've enjoyed this in any way, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing. And if you're not done with me yet, I'm going to leave another video for you on the screen to enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching me. Please take care and I will see you again in the next one.